Well, hello, Stacey Murphy here with a quick video on a garden hack for those moments when you might feel overwhelmed. So maybe your garden got away from you for some reason, you had a lot of projects lined up and they just didn't get done. Maybe you got physically injured, you couldn't do it and you need some help. Maybe you were gone and things didn't get done. Maybe life got in the way and you basically haven't been gardening for a while and now it feels overwhelming because there's so much to do. So here's the hack to get you through that, because you just want to cross it off your list. You just want to get back into the habit. You just want to make sure that you reconnect to your garden. So the hack is, maybe you've heard this phrase before, many hands make light work, right? The idea being that if you have more people to help you, that it won't seem like such a chore. And the amount of work is a lot less if you can get a lot of other people involved. So here's some ideas for how to make a really great garden party day for you, your friends, your family, whoever wants to come over. Maybe it's neighbors who want to learn a little bit about gardening. So there are a couple of key ingredients to a fun garden party. Number one is that no matter how overwhelmed you are, when you invite them in, what you want to share with them is your vision for the garden. You want to share the joy of the garden and that you want to get back to that place of joy and that you just need some help getting back there. So that's number one. If you are to tell them that you're super overwhelmed and it seems like such a chore and all these negative things, does that sound like fun? No. Make it an invitation. Make it an offering. So number two is to make it fun by adding maybe some garden food. So maybe you have something in the garden that you can convert to some fun drinks. Maybe there's some herbs in the garden that you can make some spritzers with. I've recently fermented some strawberry, lime, and ginger together. I fermented it in a jar. And so all I need to do is add a tablespoon of that, and then I add club soda, and it's like a nice, refreshing, fermented drink with some ice. So maybe you have fun drinks that came out of your garden for them to enjoy while they do this garden party with you. Definitely put on some tunes. So that's number three, is some music really helps to bring life to the garden. And then number four starts to relate to how to do the work. So whenever I invite people into my garden to do the work, I don't assume that they know anything. I actually assume that they know nothing, because I assume that I'm particular and I have a particular way of doing things in my garden, and I want them to learn my way so that things get done the way that I want to see them done. After all, it is my garden, right? And so what I like to tell them is, okay, like don't take offense if I'm telling you things you already know. I just want to tell you how I do it, because I'd like to have my garden a certain way. And I'm open to your suggestions if you have some ideas to make it even better. So that's what I like to tell people. And then what I like to do is I like to make a board. This is really, really important. So I make a board of all the different tasks that I want done that day, so people can look at it and they can get a sense of like checking things off the list and accomplishment. So we look at the task, and then basically people say, oh, I feel called to do that, or I feel called to do this one. And then break people up depending on what they feel interested in. And if they don't feel interested in a task, don't make them do it, because they're not going to have as much fun, right? So then the question becomes, if there are some tasks on the list that nobody wants to do, you've got to figure out how to make those fun, and I'll talk about that in a second. So you have all these tasks, and I told you that I tell people how I like to do the work, right? So what I like to do is I like to set people up with a task and with an objective, like, okay, I want to plant this many of this plant in this area, and I want them, this far apart, or I want them this far apart. I give them a specific measurement. And then basically I do a technique which is called I do, we do, you do. And so basically what I do is I show them how I would do the task, and then I tell them why I do the task the way that I'm doing it. Usually it's because it saves time, it's easier, or I want it done a particular way because it helps my garden. And then I ask them, I was like, okay, can we do this together? And then basically I have them do it, and I watch them to see how it's going, see if they have any questions, and offer any suggestions if I have any. And then basically they do it. So I walk away, and it's their turn to do it. And I just check back in after I see them do it for just a couple minutes, and this is very key. Have them do it for just a couple minutes and then just kind of watch and notice, are they doing it most effectively, or could it be done easier or better, or whatever the case may be. And then I just go and I say, hey friend, you know, I noticed that what you were doing, it's looking good. Awesome job. You totally got this. Just go for it. Or I say, hey friend, I noticed that these are the things that you're doing really well, and I think if you tried doing this, it might make it easier. And I offer those suggestions. And what's interesting about gardening is that it really is an experiential learning process. I can transplant very, very quickly, faster than your average gardener, because I do it a certain way. And so when I show people how I do it, they're like, oh my God, it's amazing. How did you do that? Most people think there's just one way to transplant, but there's multiple ways, and some are faster and easier than others. So it's good to let people know how you do it so that they can copycat. And then obviously if they have a suggestion or an improvement, that's always great to hear, right? And it improves you too. Okay, so we have the task board. People are doing the tasks. Check off the tasks when they get done. And you could even set a goal. This is always really great to do with garden parties, is to say like, okay, team transplant, how long is it going to take you to do this task? And have them estimate how long it's going to take. And then when they're done with it, have them check it off and report back things that they've learned to the rest of the group, because that's a fun way for everybody to learn. And then, so when you check it off, make sure you celebrate. This is really key. So I've been talking about, like, number one, you do this, number two, you know, all these different steps. Celebration is a huge part of this because it's a party. It's a garden party. So celebrate each task as it's done. This is you getting one closer to your bigger vision for the garden, right? So that's big. And then I mentioned how you have this board of tasks, and there might be something on the list that nobody wants to do. Maybe it's, we had a garden day recently, and we had to hunt down like where the dogs pooped in the yard, and somebody had to go around and pick that all up, and that's probably not the thing that people want to do the most. So maybe you could make a game out of it, you know. Maybe there's like 2 people who are competing who can pick up the most dog poop the fastest. Maybe there's a prize. Who knows? But figure out some way to make it fun if the task isn't fun already. Most of gardening is already fun if you have somebody next to you and you can chat with them. So that's how it really becomes fun. And then finally, when the day is over, take a moment to celebrate the whole day, to give gratitude to the people, to have them share their lessons learned with everybody. Maybe they take home some of the harvest. One of the things I like to do is not only schedule all those things that I don't want to do, but also schedule the really fun things. Make sure harvesting is a part of that garden day, and have them go home with some of the harvest. You could even, let's say you harvest a bunch of something, maybe you could even make sauerkraut together and then come back one day and enjoy the sauerkraut together. So this is really an opportunity for you to get to know your friends even better, to spend a day with them. You'd be shocked. It's not really one of those things that people are like, oh, I gotta go do a garden day with my friends. It's actually a fun experience if you can bring all of these elements together and show them how they're contributing to a larger mission. And so show them how excited you are about growing food, and all the learning that can happen in the garden as well. All right, so that is one of the best hacks I know to go from completely overwhelmed, you don't know what to do because you have so much work to do, to taking care of everything all in one fell swoop with a bunch of people. So many hands make light work. That's an amazing garden hack to follow. And if you have another hack that takes you from overwhelm in the garden to just taking care of everything that needs to happen, please post in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, see you in the next video.